players are not worried about playing for their place.
Yeah, is it only these 6, 7, 8 players that are there, and then they will have to groom youngsters for future?
Even if we lose the series, it doesn't matter. They'll pitch and they'll be worried about the negative. What if I do badly? What if I bowl a bad ball? What if I play a bad shot?
What are some lessons, maybe a couple of lessons that teams like India or Pakistan or maybe even Australia can learn from what England has been doing? Hi, this is Vivek Shukla. You are watching the Cric Express, a channel that brings you cricket like no one else. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned. Welcome everyone to yet another episode of Cric Express. This is the YouTube channel that brings you cricket like no one else. A lot of discussion on cricket, a lot of discussion on matches, and a huge amount of response from our audience in the recent days. And today we have another discussion, which is something that everyone has been talking about in the recent past. To talk about that topic, and I'll tell you what the topic is, but before that, to talk about that topic with us is none other than Owais Shah. He has been a former England international cricketer, has played almost 90 white ball games for England, 71 one-days and also T20 internationals, has been also part of the IPL. Has been pretty flamboyant with the white ball, and that brings me to the topic of today's episode. Today's episode is dominance of England in the white ball cricket. So welcome Owais, welcome to the Cric Express.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to start by asking you that England, as we all know, is right now one of the most dominant teams in the white ball cricket. They are the reigning champions in the 50-over format, and they are the champions in the T20 format as well. When did it all start for them? Was it very recent, or has it been brewing over a period of time in England?
Well, it's certainly been brewing. I think if you look back to 50-over World Cup in 2015, when England exited in the round-robin stage in Australia, and that, I think, when England got back to England from Australia, I think there was a big meeting with people who were running English cricket, and they just said, righto, from now on, we're going to play a different brand of cricket. And then from then on, I think they've made wholesale changes in terms of not just personnel, but way they go about preparing and the way they want to play their cricket. And I think it's really made a difference in the last, what was that? It's about 8 years or so. Yeah. And obviously recent success has gone on for them to go on and win the T20 World Cup, and of course last couple of years ago when England won the 50-over World Cup as well. So, you know, I think, I might be wrong, but I think it's the first time in the history of the game that the same country is holding two World Cups. And I think it really, you've got to give credit to the ECB to identify certain players that they wanted to invest in. Eoin Morgan, of course, captain of England at that time, they stuck with him and they said, right, I think he led that transformation really in regards to let's play fearless cricket. If you get out, you get out. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake. If you lose, it doesn't matter. But we're gonna play a particular brand of cricket where if you want to hit the first ball out of the ground, you go ahead and do that. And I think with that message coming from the captain and the coach, it really installed a lot of freedom amongst the players, and they were able to go out there and express themselves. And I don't know if you remember that England got the highest one-day international total at Nottinghamshire against Australia, where they absolutely smashed the ball everywhere. And that was after the World Cup. After that World Cup, they had a series, and they just really upped the game. I think similar to when Sri Lanka, all those years ago, brought in the likes of Jayasuriya, Kaluwitharana, and I think it might have been the '92 World Cup, when they came and really changed the way everybody was playing World Cup 50-over cricket. Now I think England have really gone on and changed the way they want to play cricket, and the rest of the world really followed. You know, 300 nowadays is about par in 50-over cricket, and I think England have a lot of, you've got to give England a lot of credit for it, for the way they play cricket, and everybody now is following that format.
Yes, well, Ian Morgan has played a tremendous role in shaping this white ball cricket, the mindset behind it, and how the game is played. What are the things that were done differently in the last few years, apart from the mindset and apart from the things that we obviously are visible? But what was something that you know of that was done backstage, behind the scenes, to make these things happen?
I think they really made an effort to identify a certain group of cricketers who would specialize in that white ball game. A certain amount of batsmen, certain amount of bowlers, and they really said to them that, look, you've got to play a fearless brand of cricket. If in doing so you fail, so be it. It doesn't matter. You are not playing for your place. Typically in cricket, if a player, especially in international cricket, doesn't perform for say 10, 12, 15 games, there certainly is a little bit of noise in the media to say, is this guy potentially out of his depth, blah, blah, blah. However, I think England said it doesn't matter if you're a batsman, you get 10 zeros or 15 zeros in a row for us, it doesn't matter. You are still going to be playing for your for the country and for the team, and they just decided that we have to stick with these guys and give them the freedom to go out there and express themselves. And that's the reason why it might have took maybe a series or 2 series or maybe even 5 series, but eventually England started playing a brand of cricket since the exit from that World Cup, where everybody else was just in awe of them, to say, wow, these guys are really taking the attack to the bowl, especially in the batting department. The likes of Jason Roy, the likes of Alex Hales, Joss Buttler, of course Owen Morgan himself. I mean, these guys are top cricketers, and of course we've got the classy Joe Root amongst those guys. I mean, these are top 5 batters who I think would walk into any international team. So that is where the change happened, the mindset. And the coaches and the captain, when they're backing you, you're not scared to make a mistake. If you make a mistake, so be it. Of course they're going to train. Of course they're not going to play silly shots, but if there's a shot that they've trained for, and a bowling plan is something they've trained for, and if it doesn't come off in the game, it doesn't matter. That's the biggest difference, I think, between what's happened in the past in English cricket and especially now. And I think English cricket are just reaping the rewards by holding those 2 trophies.
Yes, absolutely. And I cannot help but say this is in contrast to what we see in some of the other countries like India, for example, where every time everyone is playing for a place in the side because they're still trying to get the combination right. That's what they were trying to do before the T20 World Cup, and now they're trying to do it before the 50-over World Cup. Whoever gets a chance wants to hold on to the place because they want to be in that combination. But anyway, that's aside, that's a topic for another day. Also, I think what's made a difference is different coaches, different support staff for different formats. You have McCallum for the test matches, and then you have the other coaches and the support staff for the white ball cricket. So that makes a difference as well, right?
Yes, I guess it does. I think different coaches bring a different kind of energy, different thoughts. Obviously, McCallum's from New Zealand, Mott is from Australia. And yes, look, we've had different coaches in the past. Chris Silverwood obviously was the coach, and obviously he's from England. Look, I think English cricket is not scared to look all over the world to find the right person, as long as they fit in with where the journey is taking English cricket. I think since Brendan McCullum has come into as a test coach, again, English cricket again has set the bar quite high. Everybody's looking at English cricket now. I mean, if you saw the test match last week against Pakistan, everybody would have thought it's going to be a draw. Well, tell you what, things have changed because they have now got a mindset where if we lose, we lose. We're not scared. That is the biggest difference in sport, when a team is not scared to lose in search of victory. I think those are the words. When you, as a coach, speak about that in a dressing room, that is when everybody thinks, wow, you know what? It's not all about being scared of the negative. It's all about focusing on the positive. And that's exactly what English cricket is doing right now. And that's only in the test match. We're not talking about the one day, the attacking, the fearless brand of cricket. Now we've took it on another level to bring that into test cricket. So I think that's made a real big difference. When we have different coaches coming from different countries, and of course the white ball stuff in the last year or two. I mean, I thought England played outstandingly well in the last World Cup, which was held in the UAE. Unfortunately, they lost to New Zealand in the semi-final. And I think that was the proof there that England are a really, really good team. They were outstanding right throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they slipped up in the semi-final. And I think those guys were really hungry to show the world that we can play some serious cricket. And that was very evident, very well led by Matthew Mott, I think, in the recent World Cup. In Australia, who knows the Australian conditions very well. So I think there's another smart move by the ECB to employ someone who is going to be very acclimatized to the Australian conditions. And I think they were an outstanding team, especially the way they played against India, who are the giants in one-day cricket, especially. To beat them the way they did in the semi-final, I think everybody knew that they're just too good a team not to go on and win the World Cup.
Yes, and I think the smaller things, the intricate smaller things. So, for example, Ben Stokes in the T20 format needed a role, and the role they gave him was to bowl the first over and the seventh over, which was very interesting because as I was watching, and the commentators were saying that it's deliberate that he bowls the first and the seventh. Why? Because the first over gives usually less runs, and seventh over is immediately after the power play, is usually also an over that doesn't go for many runs. So they said, let Ben Stokes bowl these 2 overs. He's great with the bat and he will contribute there as well. When it comes to bowling, we're going to protect him in a way that he eases his place into the side, and that's the role they gave. So I think the small intricate things and those details have been, as you said, Matthew Mott, bringing him on because the World Cup is in Australia and he is aware of the situation and the conditions in the Australian conditions. So smaller things, getting into details, it's not just probably just go out there and go and play shots, but it's it's a lot more than that, as you are pointing it out. So great. So and the other question I had for you was, a lot of us are looking at lessons from England in the last few years. What are some lessons, maybe a couple of lessons that teams like India or Pakistan or maybe even Australia can learn from what England has been doing?
I think the biggest lesson that any team, let alone India or Pakistan, I think any team in the world can see is the way they go about their cricket in terms of not scared to make a mistake. Because a lot of the times players will walk out to the pitch and they'll be worried about the negative. What if I do badly? What if I bowl a bad ball? What if I play a bad shot? I think it's getting that mindset right. And that is all driven by the dressing room. What I mean by the dressing room is the coach, the captain, and all the senior players are backing you to say, go and play. If you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. You're part of our plans. And I think that's the biggest mindset, the biggest lesson, that people can learn from other countries can learn from England. The mindset of the English cricketers now is we are part of this team regardless if I make a mistake or not. So then players are not worried about playing for their place. It's about going there and playing for the team and trying their best. And that's something I think India, Pakistan or Zimbabwe or Bangladesh, anyone can learn from that. And when teams are playing well, generally they will pick more or less the same players. And that's where they have the confidence to say, right, I am part of this team. I might not have performed today. He's performing today. I will perform tomorrow. That's the biggest difference, I think, in English cricket now. And I think a lot of teams can learn from that.
Yes. Talking about the bench strength, a lot of people talk about bench strengths in teams. And that can sometimes be a good problem to have a lot of people waiting in the wings, not getting a chance. But do you think they have enough bench strength and enough backing in case there are injuries, in case there is some load management to be done or some shuffling to be done? Or is it only these 6, 7, 8 players that are there and they will have to groom youngsters for future?
I think ECB, always, or English cricket, they always look at other cricketers to bring in. I think if you notice, Jason Roy hasn't been in the World Cup. He's been struggling for form. With him missing out, Alex Hales has come in and did wonderfully well. So you can just see the strength that a player like Jason Roy wasn't involved in this World Cup. He's at home. So he's still got to try and be part of the squad again. I mean, that just shows the strength of English cricket in the batting. However, I worry a little bit about our bowling. I don't think our bowling has just as much strength, because I feel Jason Roy is a world-class player. Have we got world-class players in the bowling department in case somebody is injured or something like that? Can they come in and step up? So that's the only difference I would say, that our bowling needs to be strengthened. Spin department, Moeen Ali, Adil Rashid, when they finish, or if one of them, God forbid, one of them gets injured, which spinners are going to come in? So those are probably the two areas I would look at if I was the England coach, the ECB. But look, I'm sure they've got their eye in county cricket. You've got a program, England A program, under 19s England program, where they will be always looking at guys who's performing to bring them in and see if they're the next Adil Rashid or next Moeen Ali or the next Jordan. You know, so they'll have to look at that. But I think that's probably the one area I think England can always look at and perform well at the lower level, so that they're ready to step up in case, like you mentioned, if there's an injury, they can step into somebody's shoes.
Moving to the red ball cricket, and that's my last question to you. The current series between England and Pakistan, and we already spoke about the first test match. How do you see the series going from here? Do you think the remaining test matches will also be as thrilling and interesting as the first one, or will England go back and say, okay, we've won the first one, now let's be defensive and complete the series with a 1-0 win and finish?
Look, I don't think England have played since, I think, Brendan McCullum has took over as coach. I don't think they've played any series where they're just looking to win the series in a way where they're like, well, you know, we won this test match, let's just play for a draw. I think those days are finished. I don't even think Brendan McCullum looks at a whole series. I think he just looks at 5 days of cricket. My team has to win this 5 days. We'll worry about the series. Even if we lose the series, it doesn't matter. The way and the brand of cricket we want to play for the next 5 days, that is all that matters. So I don't think he is worried about the series against Pakistan. He's going to just probably focus on the next 5 days and make sure they play a brand of cricket where they're not scared to lose in search of a win. I think that's the biggest change in English cricket, where they're always looking to win now. They're not looking to say, well, we're ahead, let's play for a draw. No, we're going to win. We won the first one, we're going to win again, and we're going to win again. And if we lose in search of winning, that's life. So I think they just want to play an entertaining brand of cricket, and luckily, I think Ben Stokes is on same page as Brendan McCullum to say, right, we will do this together. We are going to try and go in search of winning 5 days of cricket against a very good Pakistan team. Yes, they've got 1 or 2 injuries in the bowling department, but that's life. That is how things are nowadays. There's so much cricket, guys do get injured. However, Pakistan, in my view, should take a leaf out of England's book and play attacking cricket. They're in their own backyard. They know those conditions very well. And I think they should try and play more fearlessly. And I think if they do that, we've got a wonderful test series coming up. I said last question, but there's another question that popped up in my mind, and that's something which I have been thinking and people have been talking about. Bilateral series. So for example, India is playing Bangladesh now and losing. So bilateral series from the newfound England mindset would be what? Because from what I can see from the other countries when they play bilateral series, it's become more of preparing for the World Cup, finding that combination. So I'm playing Bangladesh, or I'm playing somebody today, and 2 countries are playing. The countries are thinking, some of the countries are thinking, okay, let me find out my combination. Let me find out which players should go in the World Cup. So for them, bilateral series is not playing and winning against the other team in their home ground. It's more of finding my combination. So it's become an experimental series where they don't go for winning the series, they go for finding a combination, which one will fit in the World Cup, which will not. Do you think that's the right approach? Would England do that if they have a one-day series, or they must be having one-day series coming on, running up to the World Cup? Will they go for that, or will they just go for winning the series? Look, if they don't do that, that's just the luxury a coach has. A coach or a captain wants to try out certain players, and they just want to see how strong how strong is the squad, what is the depth of the squad. And these are opportunities for players to come and showcase their talent, showcase what they can do. At the end of the day, it's all about the World Cup, T20, World Cup 50 over cricket, Test Championship. It's all about what are we building towards. It's not about just another series, this country against that country. You know, I actually don't mind that. I think it's all heading towards, in 2 years' time, we've got another, I believe it's next year.
Next year.
It's a 50-over World
Yes.
Cup.
Yeah.
So let's make sure teams are getting ready for these big tournaments because the whole world is going to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that. I think it's a great time for young guys like the Surya Kumar Yadavs of the world to come in and say, right, you've got 20 games till the World Cup. Show us what you can do. Or, you know, can you knock Virat Kohli off his number 3 position? Because what that will do is inspire Kohli to say, hey, hold on a minute. I'm still around. I'm going to perform even better than this youngster.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's competition.
Yeah.
And guess who benefits? The team benefits from that kind of competition.
Yeah.
And everybody's playing at a higher standard. So for me, I don't have a problem with that. Because for me, it's all about the T20 World Cup. It's got to be about the trophies, right? It's got to be about the bigger picture. And that for me is a good way for players to come in and show what they can do at the world stage.
All right, perfect. So thank you very much. And I think one thing that you said, which I will take home today with me, and I'm sure our viewers would appreciate that as well, is the fear of losing in search of victory is something that can pull a team down. So if there is no fear of losing in the search of victory, that makes a great team, and that's what has made England a great team in the white ball cricket. We will have these kind of episodes in future as well. Keep yourself tuned in to Cric Express, subscribe and like. Thank you very much, Owais, to be here. Always a pleasure being with you and talking to you. We look forward to having you here with us again soon sometime.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Keep yourself tuned in to Cric Express. This is a channel that brings you cricket like no one else. Subscribe to Cric Express and definitely leave your comments.
Hello, this is Owais Shah. This is Cric Express, a channel like no other cricket channel before. Keep watching.